Hello viewers, you're welcome to the Untold TV show with me, Nathaniel Olakotete, your host. And before I introduce my show today and my guest, don't forget that you can follow us on social media, that is on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, that is on the Untold TV show, the Untold TV show. And so like our pages so that whenever we upload you get notifications, and as well on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and share our content with your loved ones. And we promise to bring you much more educative, informative, and entertaining content. And so today with me in the seat is a fine gentleman, an educationist, an award-winning one at that, and an education advocate among other things. And he is, a teacher, but an exceptional teacher. And so very soon I will introduce him. But before then, like I said, don't forget to follow us on social media, The Untold TV Show. And personally, it's NT Olaku on Facebook and as well on Instagram. And then on Twitter, it's D Olaku. And so I go for a quick commercial break. When I return, the interview begins. Stay tuned, don't go away. So viewers, you're welcome back from that quick commercial break. And like I promised, today we're talking about education. And with me in the studio is a fine gentleman, a teacher by profession, an award-winning educationist, and an education advocate, among other things we will be mentioning as we journey along. He is in the person of Divine. And this name, we are going to get meanings into this name, because the name is so, the first name itself plus the second name. Yeah. Divine, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel.
Good having you.
Pleasure being here too.
Great. So first of all, before we kickstart, teachers have been, especially when we talk of the basic and then the secondary education, teachers have been on the longest vacation ever.
Yeah.
And how is it going?
Well, it has not been the expectation or the wish of any teacher to be at home for this too long, because as much as you may have some free time at home doing other stuff, right, you are still mindful of what is happening to your world or your students. The fact that, especially we education watchers, we are particular about the fact that as much as long students spend at home or stay at home, they are the most disadvantaged one are less likely to return to the classroom when school resumes. Okay. So yeah, because the girls, some may get pregnant, the boys, some may be doing some job and they may get some coins and feel that ends it, I don't need school again. And some of the girls are giving out in marriage. And then we're also looking at the achievement gap between the haves and then the have-nots. Okay. Some children now, they are having education online because their parents can afford that. Just imagine those in the hinterlands that can afford that. So over the years, education has been to ensure social mobility. How do we bring in those that are very far away from the social nets? So education has been to bring them. So if they have to stay at home and then it is still widening the achievement gap between the haves and then the have-nots, then it is creating a challenge for us. And somebody would think about some of the children that they receive meals from school. That's where they get their daily meal. Right. They love it. So it's a lot. So as much as we have to be at home because of the COVID, it's not a wish of any teacher. I've monitored social media and some of them are calling for the fact that measures should be put in place so that we can return to the classroom. And once those measures are in place to ensure staff and then student safety, why not? Teachers will return to school.
Right, thank you. So I will come back and continue with the effect of COVID-19 and the way forward and what we should be expecting, because COVID-19 may or may not leave us soon, but still life has to go on. It's up to us to adjust. But before we go on with the interview proper, our viewers want to know who Divine Kpe is.
All right, thank you very much. Divine Kpe is the last of 7 family. Actually, I had all my education in a town called Have. Okay. That's where I was born, bred, in the Volta region. Right. My father was a stenographer.
Have the roads been fixed yet?
Come again?
Have the roads in Have been fixed yet?
Not at all. We'll talk about later. Yes. So, my father was a stenographer and then my mother a petty trader. I started school there, continue from there to Kpeje Senior High School, from there to College of Education, Franco Hohwe, and had my bachelor degree in Valley View University.
Right.
So over the year, Divine has been an education guy. I started teaching in the year 2013, and that has opened my understanding to so many challenges facing the education sector. As a teacher, I was seeing the challenge in forehand, and I was thinking, how best could I contribute beyond just teaching my children? I started what I call teenage build. Later on, we converted it to every child along. How do we get every child along in an education? Not just attending school, but how do we also get every child along learning? Right. So, because the problem basically in our education system is the fact that children cannot read and then write. You know, all other things are just symptoms of that particular problem. If the child can read and write, she'll be able to read the science and understand and write for you to mark. Right. She'll be able to read the math question and understand and then write for you to mark. So all the issues at poor academic performance will be receiving as a result of one thing, student inability to read, to understand, and then also write. So so over my activities over the year in education sector has been to design literacy activities especially for children in rural communities, to help them come out with the challenge they face with their reading and then writing. Aside that particular intervention in some rural communities, I can talk about close to 100 senior highs and then GHS or basic schools are visited doing mentoring programs for the student on various topics. Especially in secondary school, we talk about creating clean digital footprints, because all those stuff.
Some of the achievements. But, what actually inspired you to go into education or becoming a teacher in the first place?
Okay, honestly, I haven't considered teaching as a career opportunity. For when I was in GSS, I was thinking of becoming an agriculturist. Okay. And because I was liking agric, and when I got to secondary school, I was thinking of becoming an economist because I love economics. Okay. So all along, my ambition has been to become. I shifted from agriculturist to economics in secondary school. So I was just working towards that. And when I look at this former finance minister, Dr. Barry Edu, he has been my inspiration. When I see him on television talking about economics figures and all that things, going to present budgets, I always want to watch him. He has been an inspiration. I've been working to become an economist. But after secondary school, had a good grade, and I should thinking of, but I knew I wasn't going to proceed to university straight away because I lost my dad in 2008. My dad has been a help to us, but we lost him in 2008. That was the same year I was to write my WASE. But before I lost my dad in 2008, my dad has already, I won't say has lost his job. Stenographer, with the introduction, they were using those manual typewriter, but with the introduction of the computer, he couldn't catch up with it, so he became obsolete in the industry, and he was out of job. So my sister, that is also a teacher, I had to take the responsibility of looking after us. So she looked after me in secondary school. So she was doing that at the same time. I had to take care of the family, and then taking care of my elder brother too's education. So the pressure was in. So the possibility of getting to university there, I knew it was not going to be there. And so when I completed, my school is regarded, Kpeje Senior High School, regarded as a deprived school. So after writing, they have been giving annually awards to students that have thrived well in the WASE. Not necessarily, the KUST gives free admission. Okay. So they'll give you free admission, come and read this program. If you're able to foot the cost, you come and do it. So I was given land economy. So I was in the house one day, the headmaster called my sister that they have to come. We went to the school, it's okay. This is it. Annually, KUS is based on the student performance in the WASH, they select 2 people. So they selected myself and then one lady for us to have the free admission. So the free, I didn't apply. So they don't know land economy, I didn't even know what it was that day. I was not exposed to career opportunities. So land economy, I didn't know what it was. But you know, I was tempted because I had wanted to become an economist. And I heard land economy. I thought they were too related. Okay, so I thought, well, could it be? Until some years back, I got to know what land economy actually. It's nothing to even to do with economics. So I was tempted to do that. So we got home. My sister said, "Well, Divine, good, but I can't help with this." So because you know the responsibility already. I said, "Fair enough." So I applied to St. Francis College of Education, and of course, I had to put behind me the idea that I couldn't proceed to the university and get the best out of whatever is available to me. So probably I may be bitter because I couldn't go to the university, but I didn't. I got to the College of Education, Hawkeye, with glad and ready to do the best out of it. So when it was in college, I was getting the love for education. I was learning the psychology, the educational principle, and I already love children. So I said, okay, this is okay. I'll get to the field to do my very best. So in college, I put myself in it. I did my best, completed, and became a teacher in 2013. And since then, it has been beyond doing educational intervention to advocacy, that let's push for change in the educational system, and I believe we'll get time to talk more about this. So that's how I got to camp, and I've never regretted being.
Is it okay to say that you became a situational teacher?
Well, yeah, of course, I would say out of that, because initially it has never came to mind. So I would say as God's own plan to put me in His will, I may be thinking of something. And the issue also has been to the fact that at times you don't see these career exposures where you think that this is what you would have. I believe I may not have been thinking of from agriculturist to economist, and then finally settling on being an educationist. If I were to get some opportunity that guidance, which I think this generation, they are fortunate to having some form of that. I think you yourself, personally, you've been to some secondary school to give talks on such. So there's nothing like that. So yeah, out of situation, but I may see it as God's own plan to put me in His will. As I would have regretted not being a teacher, because this is just the fruit for me, and I've seen God's hand in it, opening doors and using me to influence positively the changes that needs to happen in the industry.
So it's been 6 years since you entered the classroom full time, and earlier you mentioned that the main challenge with our school system is the inability of a child to read and understand and apply the knowledge that is being given out. Would you say these challenges are geographically influenced?
Yeah, we can say so, because when you compare a child in my village to a child in the city here in Accra, you see that the difference is very huge. The achievements have in terms of English performance, reading, and then writing, very vast. So geographically, that is there. And the main issue now also that is creating that geographical difference is the inequity gap in our educational system. Resources tends to be given to schools that even are well-to-do more than schools that have less in terms of resources, have less at their disposal. So the inequity gap has over the years widened the achievement gap. So those in the rural communities, right, they are always at the receiving end of poorer inequity decision in education. So yeah, people in the urban areas, they are fortunate to have good education to some. Even as in this COVID, some of them are still having good education. But in our rural communities, those children are highly deprived, and we have to address the inequity challenge in our educational system. Otherwise, that gap will continue to be there. We will not bring those children to the social net enough.
Right. So you happen to be teaching in a Volta region. In Ho, is that the place yours?
Precisely, Peki.
So you're teaching at Peki.
Yeah.
And you are the basic level.
Yeah.
Right. And so a place like Peki is not, though Peki is not a village, you cannot compare Peki to a place like Accra or Tema. Would you say that these inequalities in terms of disbursement of educational materials, and infrastructure, it's something that is affecting your school?
Yeah, over the years, in my 6 years of experience in teaching, I'll say yes, in terms of resource distribution. It has to be there. So when resource come, what you need in terms of teaching and learning material, right. I believe, that the issue is also is about parents in this city, urban city, they are elite. So if you deprive the school their wards are in, you deprive them of resources, they are able to make the noise. They have access to the top radio stations and television stations. So GS will be more prone to fulfill the demand of such schools, so that these people that are educated will make the noise and say that, to know that we have problem in the educational system. Something will be created to us to paint the picture as though problem has been solved. Meanwhile, the main problem is in the rural communities. So,
but today, getting into the limelight, getting into the media has changed. Unlike traditionally, when you needed a radio station to make the noise, you needed a television station. Now somebody can do a video of themselves and it still trends. So why aren't parents in these rural areas using this opportunity to champion it?
How many parents in that rural community, number one, have access to those digital devices, and who even know that are they empowered enough to know that I can take action when my child's education is not up to expected standard? So that's why I say that educational gap between parents here and those in the rural community is very vast. So here, parents here were able to take actions, unlike over there. Though some of them may have access to digital devices, they can.
So can we say that this is, like you said, parents in urban areas are parents that themselves are mostly educated, and so they see the need to make the noise, to make sure that things are done right, vis-a-vis parents in the rural areas who see less importance of changing the education.
That is a fact. You have been educated, so you know that if I give the best education to my ward, my child can also become the best even more than me, the parent. So unlike your compatriot that is in the village, that parent probably even wants the child to send to the farm or fishing. I get to the point of go to the market. So that is even their own lack of interest in their what's educated. I can't recall a day. Yes, it is far and few between that you see a parent coming to school to check on the child, the performance of the child. Right. I can count the number of times.
Unlike in the
city, yeah, of course.
Open days.
Open days, parents are frequenting their ward school. And usually it puts you, the teacher, too, on the toe, because now it is free will. Parents can expect to come and sit in the classroom and observe what is going on. Teacher is teaching their kids. But they are empowered. They know that they can do that. But
so, you know, why I kept dwelling on this is that now from your intro, I noticed that you schooled in not so much a developed area, because a few months ago I traveled to Vail, and so we drove through Peki, we drove through Have, and then all those places, and I could see that it is not so much of a village, but it's not, Have is not so much a developed place, urbanized city as well. Now you were able to school there, you grew there, you had your basic education there, you had your senior higher education still in the Volta region, and then your teacher training education. And so what made the difference in your life that even from all these humble experiences, you're still in a limelight? I mean, we'll be talking soon about some of the achievements that you have chalked, which teachers or people in the city who went to the Morning Stars and then all the big schools have not necessarily achieved yet. And so that is why I'm so much dwelling on the effort of the parent to take responsibility any which way to ensure that their children receive equal or somewhat better education.
Yeah, when it comes to me and you talk about achievements or my strive over the years, despite the fact that I've received education in very deprived areas, my secondary school, it's, like I mentioned in the introduction, that it's a deprived school, classified as a less endowed school.
Right.
It is an effort, the determination to make the best out of myself. That has been the driving force. I recall, I have never owned a textbook, a storybook, let alone talk about textbook when growing up. I have not. Permit me just to go back to the root a bit. We were in a compound house. There's somebody selling provisions and other items in the house, and that woman has a radio. My parents, the radio my father owned got spoiled by the time I grew up. It was in a room just for fashion, but it wasn't working. And where is the book to read? I always make the effort. I don't miss. Then that radio, particularly of that particular woman provision store in the house, it is always on GBC. And then they will broadcast in the 6 o'clock news. I don't miss the. I'll be sweeping, but when it's 6 o'clock, I hear the sound. I stop. I go and listen to the news, and then I come back. That part, those days, the GBC was doing a program every day English. I'll go and listen to others and make notes. I'll come back to school. All about GBC. I use radio to learn. I was learning the vocabulary on radio. I was learning new words. So that effort has been. So books to read, I've never owned one. So daddy say or mommy say this is a book for you to read. No, but that determination to learn has always been there. So when you have the voracious appetite to know something, you will always want to know. So that is the beginning. And then I recall that Wednesday, junior graphic, they have been bringing junior graphic every Wednesday to town. I'll say, so when they give you some money to go and spend, I'll say some Wednesday, weekly, so I'll get junior graphic. Junior graphic have stories in it, a worksheet that you have to do, and all children play activities in that. So those were some of the things I worked with. So personally, I was just ready to make the best out of my humble beginning. And I know my childhood, parents mostly will use me as a reference point. Can't you see Divine? Because Divine is learning. Divine is doing this. And our parents were also ensured that you at least your notebook, you are with your notebook, even if you don't have textbook or storybook for you, you are with your notebook. And they are able to do it. So for me, the difference, which anybody who has found his or herself in that situation, a humble beginning, is the desire to become somebody. Right. That whatever life has thrown at your face, the challenges life has, irrespective of that, the final decision comes to you, whether to accept it. I've gone through a number of things that would have let me, so I'm giving up on life. Because experience in school, 0 on the buttons, you understand. When you have 0 there, and then GSS, and then I recorded. Those days we do sewing. You had an opportunity to select something. So life skill. So we were doing sewing. My madam was teaching something, teaching and those things. Right. And the kids were saying, "Madam, you can use device button for a practical example." We still were all there. That was the worst day in my school life. It was the whole room, everybody. The divine, madam, divine, they were pushing me, come on to the front. The button is tall. I was so stuck, so they were pulling me. And then, funny enough, the madam too was laughing. She says nothing wrong with that. But I was hurt. I cried in that classroom that day. I got home, I cried again. And I would have said next day I wouldn't go to school. But I put it on the next day, and I was going to school. Till mommy got to get me a new uniform. So that desire to make the best out of it, parents were encouraging. Divine, things will be better, learn. My father's own words, learn. My father's last word before he even died, when I was leaving to secondary school, it was like, Divine, open your eyes. Simply means put your eyes on a book. Just that's it. So they have been encouraging enough, and for me, I believe their encouragement and my understanding of where I am coming from and the desire to make the best out of life has made me to put my effort in whatever I'm sent to do, and by God's grace, it's keeping us going.
I am always focused or particular about the motivations and then the sense of responsibility when it comes to developing an individual, because I believe that no matter the resources at your disposal, if you decide not to use it for the right purposes, you would not use it for the right purposes. And so I believe that once the hunger is there, the rest is secondary. And like you have rightly said, so I don't really see the need. Of course, the governing authorities must make sure that they deliver on whatever
The educational mandates.
exactly. But then also, if the books are there and the parent or the student are not willing to make good use of them, then there is little or no reward from all the efforts that come. But that is just by the way. Now, from your humble beginning to, we will be talking about some of your achievements shortly, but from your humble beginning and you coming into education full-time for the past 6 years, what are some of the things you have done to make sure that the children or the students that went through your care and tuition had been impacted to couch a vision? Because from your intro again, I saw that you were a child that grew up with no particular career goal until at a certain level when you had to love what you have. How did you use this experience to better the life of the children that have gone through your tuition?
For me, school wasn't a fun for me. I only say school was fun, so I wake up the next day, I'm going to school because school was a fun, I want to be in school. No. Over the years, school has been a very hostile environment. Teachers will be making fun of you, and your colleagues bullying and all those things, they were all there. So for me, my self-image was even broken in school.
Right.
You don't even want to stand and pass where colleagues are sitting because of all. So even where teachers are gone, you don't want to pass there because you'll be surprised. Teachers in the zone, you're talking about. So when I became a teacher, I said, no, the trend has to change. So I gave myself some expectations to meet with my students. And the starting point is have relationship with students. No meaningful learning can happen without relationship. It is everyday life. Nothing can be achieved without effective relationship. So the same principle must be brought to the classroom. So the starting point, but some teachers feel that if I have relationship with my student, they'll feel like, look, they'll take you for granted, or it depends on how you handle the relationship. So me, I always focus on cultivating the best teacher-student relationship. When your student can confide in you, tell you whatever their problem is, so that even if the child is not understanding, the child can voice out. And it may not be about academic issue even, social issues happening at home, they can still confide with you and come and tell you. So for me, the starting point is I cultivated relationship with my students.
Right.
And I get to class, and the first thing I would do is, hi, good morning, class. You see me smiling. That is it. So if I carry on I may have having problem before getting into the class, but that is not a time for me to be solemn and then, because that spirit will be translated to the student, and they will be distracted. So I need to put whatever challenge I have and put a smiley face. Good morning with a smiley face. And you see them respond. You not see your teacher smiling and you want to do, you see that. So you are there. I tell them, when if it is long vacation, you come back. Oh, I've missed you. I've been here. Tell me. We share all those things. I've created an environment that they can be able to come and tell me their challenges. They tell you issues happening at home, the academic difficulties. So you are able, beside that, I have been able to integrate career guidance rights in my classroom.
Right.
So to help them create a path, I help them identify their interests. My classroom is not a place of competition. It's not about I've gotten 80 over 100 and somebody has gotten 30. No. We don't regard marks in my classroom. I'll mark, and first, you not even get 0 and I'll write 0 in your Excel book.
But Divine, okay, so which class do you teach?
6.
Class 6. So it means that you teach all the students all the subjects.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is quite okay. But you see, the point here is that I am much more interested in the self-image thing that you mentioned of, because to some extent, I personally suffered some of these challenges in growing up, where you probably love to sing, and the other colleague doesn't know how to sing or doesn't he's not having any interest in singing. And so once you are in class or during break time and they are doing one thing and you are doing another, they try to tag you, among other things. Even like you said, the torn uniform you're wearing, a student doesn't see that this could be a serious challenge, serious financial challenge with a family that is reflecting on the student. And so we take it light. And unfortunately, some teachers also, in quotes, do not have the wisdom in managing this. But how would you say your impact of building the image of your students has affected them positively in terms of progression in their academic
performance?
ladder?
All right, yeah. There's a direct relationship between self-image and academic performance. There is. Because if you believe yourself you can do this, you put in the maximum effort. So for me, I've worked with students and then on their positive self-image building. We have positive self-confession in class we do. And I can't, my students know that you can't say I can't.
Okay.
They know that you say I'll give it a try. So create that environment that we call growth mindset. It's something in educational science we call, help students to cultivate what we call growth mindset. That even if I have 0 today, at the beginning of every academic year, this is what I do. If a new student comes to my class, this is what I do. We assess your level. Tell me where you feel like you are on the reading ladder. Be front to all of us. So I put average, proficiency, all these things. I put 0 on a scale to 0 to 0. How will you rate yourself, your reading? If your reading is 0, everybody knows that is it. So we said that we've set a goal target that then by the end of this 1 month, you should be able to move from 0 at least to 1. It's a progress.
Right.
If at the end of the academic year, you've moved from 0 to 5, it's a progress. So we have set that helped my students to know their own level, and there's no shame in it. Your students are able to tell that, no, I say I know mathematics, I'll put myself on a scale of 1 out of 10. I said, it's not a problem. And then we create a community that, okay, your duty is to help that person that is on 1 to move to 2. So if we are desk mates and your reading progress is 6 and mine is 2, it's your duty to help me to move to yeah. So there's that kind of community we've created in the classroom that helps our children. So there's no competition, and the students see that, okay, at least SEG helps to talk to us to help our image to boost. That self-image that you may have come into the class with you may have come into a class with a broken self-image, but creating a community where you feel okay among your colleagues is building your self-image. Me talking to you respectfully as a student say appreciates me. It's something that will help your self-image. You giving a wrong, as I said, thank you. I know you can give a better attempt, so sit down and think about it and give me another attempt. I haven't dismissed your answer. Yeah. So these petty things will help to boost your self-image. In my class, we have at least some motivational words that are on the wall. You can stand there and you read. It helps you. And one thing we do, I do with my student Moses, one person will stand and the student will write. Every student will come to the board and write something positive. Turn your back, your student will come and write positive things about you on the board. And then when you turn, you have to read those positive things.
But have you taken time to evaluate these post the child being under your care for, say, 1 academic year, and now the child moves to the junior high level, and these exposures are not there? Have you tried connecting with your children after they left your care to the junior high, I should say, to see? And by now I'm sure that 6 years, some of your children should be in their final year in a senior high school, about to take the WASI, to see how this has impacted their lives going forward. Because it could be you might have met a very good teacher in class 6 or any other, and then you're advancing and you meet a very brutal teacher who makes you feel like you're worth nothing, and you forget all the motivations that you ever had previously.
Yeah, right. In education, we understand that if a child goes through the hand of two good teachers, that student, even if he meets bad teacher for one, that child is likely to blossom forever. But if that child moves in the hand of four bad teachers, that child will probably may never recover, even if so it takes a miracle to recover. So I don't know how many teachers are aware of this particular ideology that I'm propounding right now. I have seen that, okay, they may have progressed to the next class, and the teachers out there, they may also be doing their, I'm not expecting that they should act like me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not expecting that. So I'm sure they will also be doing their best over there. I wouldn't want to be intruding in somebody. After all, that the schools have always taught. They are always the GSS have always detached from our block. So I do visit them in their class. Maybe the GSS one, I'll visit and I'll see what they are doing. Yeah, I get call from some of them that are in secondary school. Now I receive call from them, and some of them, thank you, at least for this. If not you, I may have given up on my education. And some of them, it could even have a personal problem maybe having at home, but the little motivation you have given to them and the encouragement you have given to them kept them moving. And though I received call from the elderly ones, as leaders say, your intervention at least has able to help. I know we have a long way to go, especially to ensure that some of these ideas that I have over the year built in education, we're able to see how best we replicate some of these in schools. Some of my awards won are towards replications of some of my educational interventions.
So we will come back and delve deeper into some of these issues. I was only curious to know, because you made mention of building relationships with these children. So I was just looking at whether these relationships were or are progressive beyond the classroom. Viewers, you've been watching the Onto TV show, and with me here today is Divine Kwe, an award-winning teacher and an education advocate. And my name has always been Nathaniel Olakutete. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles, that is Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That is the Untold TV show. And personally on Facebook and Instagram is NT Olaku, and Twitter is D Olaku. I go for a quick commercial break, and when I return, the interview continues. Stay tuned, don't go away. Alright, so viewers, you're welcome back from that quick commercial break. And like I said, with me here today is an educationist and an award-winning teacher for that matter. So, Divine, I want us to just look at how you think parents should contribute towards the betterment of their children's education.
Alright, in fact, teachers cannot do magic in a classroom and then everything will transform. Education is actually about collaboration, and significant contribution must come from the parents as well. Teachers can do their best, but without the parents' active involvement in the education of their wards, teachers can do their best, but they can't do magic to transform things overnight. So parents, number one, must understand the importance of education to their wards. If you have not received any form of education, you have to understand that your child, we have seen the importance of education. Without it, I'm not be able to be speaking to you. Right? So parents, first of all, must understand that their watch education is also part of their life. And even those that are educated, it's not enough just sending your watch to school, buying the exercise books, buying the textbooks, giving them a good uniform. No. The issue is, how close are you with the teacher, that both of you can diagnose problems that the child may have together and propose solution. That is the most important. Teachers and parents must work closely together. So parents must be in touch with their teachers. You don't throw your child into classroom and that ends it. The whole academic, you haven't checked in to see what the child is doing, haven't got in touch with the teacher to know what it is happening to your child. Parents, some teachers can know beside academic performance, other things that may be affecting the child. Maybe a situation, a psychological issue needs to be told to the parents, but you are not availing yourself. So I believe parents, as much as we are seeing more career kind of parents these days that will go for work and come so late and they go straight to bed. The next day, lunch bag, go to school. It ends there, then the cycle continues. No. When a child comes back, at least ask, how school was today? Show interest in your child's education. What did you learn? Can you share one or two things with me?
Right.
What did the teacher say? Call the teacher. Ask how is my child doing in the classroom? Spare time. And so today I'm taking today off just to visit the school, to know particular need of the school. That alone is enough to know what needs is.
But then with the kind of system you teach in, I know that with the preparatory schools and the Montessori system, it happens where they have the open day where the whole day is dedicated for parents to come and look at their kids' performance. But you in a public sector, is there a day like that when parents can just walk in? Because from what I know as a former Saito student, it's all about change lesson, free period. I don't know, you still do music and dance?
It's not time to, well, it's part of creative art formally.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so what, yeah. That opportunity is there for parents to walk into school and say, today I want to see what is happening in the classroom, in my child's classroom. That opportunity is there. School management has changed. The school management committee, PTA, can come to school today and see what is happening in school, even in the classroom. So school management has totally changed.
Right.
So parents have that opportunity to get to school and know what is happening. Even because you don't know what is happening in your child's classroom, you are paying school fees. Well, they don't pay school fees at a basic level, but it's just like you are sending your child to the hospital and you are not sure what is happening there. You don't trust the system. So your ability to get close to the educational system, the school, the teachers can give you some confidence. Teachers don't know it all. You, the parents, who can provide some solution to some problems. This is what we are facing. I have the link. I can connect you to this person, and then this particular ICT challenge can be solved. So, if parents are able to work with the teachers, we have seen much significant improvements in education. The reason why private schools are doing better, we say they are doing better, is because of some of all this.
Is it not because the parents are paying, so they take responsibility? But in the case of the public schools, dress up and go. Even in many cases, the children are even provided with lunch, so the parents careless. Because the scripture says that where your treasure, that is where your heart is. And so in this case where they don't pay the fees, they careless. Could that be a factor?
The issue is not about even the payment, because it's about the understanding that I have to take interest in my ward's education, whether I paid or not. You are still entitled to come to school because you are not, even though you are not paid, you are still entitled to get close. It's about having that desire to know what is going to your child's life. So to children, it will send a signal to them that my mother cares. The fact that my mother comes to school to visit is enough for a child. Are you getting the point?
Right.
So consciously, those private schools, they are able to integrate it in their co-curricular activities. But that is missing in public schools. That innovation has to be there. So, okay, at least we can also have open day. And we invite parents along to come and see what is happening. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So, such innovation, but the bureaucracy also in the GES is also an issue. If a head at times want to bring in some innovation, you will see that you say, no, you are wasting instructional hours. We should be with the student in the class.
Exactly what I was trying
So this kind of bureaucracy in GES, where you have to pass through so many channels to get some petty things, innovative things done, it's limiting the creativity of some school leaders, administrators, or headmasters. That is also a challenge over there. That's why I believe if heads can even, you can promote a head based on the innovation that your head is bringing to his or her school. You can. Those are the types of things that are used to enhance academic performance in school. What innovation is that particular head bringing? If that innovation is good, if it is open day, if it is okay, we want to hold school engagement like family, parents will have to come. Is it about dining with my children? That was all. So we work like a community. It's not a teacher and then the student that alone makes the educational community, but parents' involvement. So if a parent actively is involved in child's education, significantly our educational system would have changed over the days, I believe. But parents have been sitting on the fence for too long, and the new era of education requires that we don't leave them out. And consciously, school administrators and teachers must do the effort to bring them closer. I believe we also teachers, we believe we need to do a lot to bring them close. They may not know that I can come to school, or even I can just take a day off my busy schedule too. So you, the teacher, I don't know how many teachers may have their wards or their students' parents' contact numbers, and how often they may personally get in touch with them. So we may have the shortfall in part of with the teachers
so
too.
Disconnect between parents.
Good. So the disconnect is there. So if parents don't understand it, we understanding it, we should bridge that that gap over there. We should bridge the gap so that the more we try to bring them closer, the more they will also be there. So I believe we need to do a lot to work with parents.
We need to do a lot to work with parents, because I believe when these comprehensive sexuality education saga came, we had a lot of parents from all walks of life putting their concerns across, and at least it puts government on the toe. So I'm sure that sometimes it is the information that is not well disseminated, and I'm glad that we are having this conversation. Well, now viewers, once again, you are reminded that this is the Untold TV show. We don't only talk about business, because we want to empower the youth so that they will create business, and the empowerment begins with their education. So today we are focusing on education, and with me is an award-winning educationist, and my viewers will be concerned about what is it about these award-winning educationists, because in Ghana so far the loudest, or the to many, the only award scheme for teachers is the Best Teacher Award that happens once a year. Have you won one yet?
No. Personally, for me, it's not even an award. That's not the fancy about it. I believe what you put in, that is the most significant thing. Before we came here, you also asked if I will be applying.
Yeah.
What I put in education, that for me, that is the most significant. If people recognize my efforts and they say they are awarding, that is it. But I'm not chasing awards. Over the years, I won't want to talk about the award first, but what actually brought those awards, I think that's the most important thing to talk about. Aside my contribution actively in the classroom in the system, I personally initiated activities to address some pertinent issues in the educational system. Like I mentioned earlier, that reading and writing has been a challenge in our schools. What I did was to come out with programs targeting children in rural communities. So how do we bridge the literacy gap in such communities? So I had a team of people that will be running interventional programs for them. Until this new curriculum came, we were missing the link on how best we can help our students to read.
Right.
We don't read with letter names, we read with their sounds.
Okay.
But formally, we were educating them, so our attention was A, B, C, D, E, F. No, the child should rather learn the sound of the letters, because that the phonetics, that's what the child is going to read with.
Right.
So before the new curriculum would have come into effect, and then the emphasis would be placed on phonetics in the new curriculum, I had in university, and I had already investigated about best. I was trying best to help my own students, and I came across this phonetics way of helping children. I realized that it was helping my children, so how best do I scale it up beyond my school? So we had a group, teachers, where we adopt some communities that weekends can decide to go there and help them, those children, and then also, if it is holiday, we are free, we go and then engage them. I have also actively worked with some NGOs that are into promoting literacy and propose, I guess, how best they can also. We train teachers. I've held programs that train head teachers in leadership. I brought proposal to
So
districts.
can you fill us in on some of the awards that you...
For me, I want to be particular about what even brought in the awards, but if you want more...
Because of time.
Okay, all right. Well, so...
There is something I want to ask. I'm itching to
Okay,
ask.
so let me quickly, before the award, the most recent program that we want to run this year before the COVID brought everything to standstill is the Safe School Project. We believe that there's so much violence in school. Violence doesn't means students have to come home bruised all over. No, but sexual violence is in school. Psychological violence is going on in school. Physical violence is going on in school, and they are having deleterious effects on students' performance. Education for students to perform well, a lot of things have to come to. But if there's a physical violence to school, the next day the child is coming to school and the child is afraid, the child will not even be okay to come to school. If the child is, the teacher is so hostile in class, if the teacher is insulting the child, that psychological violence will be having effect on the child's performance. If there's a sexual violence from student to student or teacher to student, it would have created the teacher and the student relationship that will affect performance. So we were trying to this year address violence in our schools. So we designed so many activities. Some were even targeting communities and parents because we believe violence starts from home. If I see my parents and fighting or abusing each other, I'll bring it to school. Or if I don't have love at home, I come to school and then little thing, I'll be so hostile to my colleague. Yeah. So we're trying to address it from parents level, community level, teacher level, and then student to student level. But we believe post-COVID, we should be able to carry all this going on. And the awards. Yeah. My first award was the Africa Youth Award in 2015. Africa Award for my performance in grassroots development. Some of my intervention in the grassroots community villages, like doing enrollment drive to bring children to school. My students might go to school at age 4. But one of the challenges is that in those communities, so a child can be at home like 6 years, they don't care. And if the child feels I'm overgrown in class 1, that child likelihood of dropping out is very high. So our advocacy was how best do we ensure that parents understand that they have to rake in their words at the right age enrollment, 4 years. So we were able to do that. So we went to fishing community villages that we know that the issues will be prevalent there. So and we got a significant number of children coming. Those that have dropped out, we brought them to school. So that project actually intervention won me the 2015 Africa Youth Award. Well, 2015, 2016, 2017, I won the Educom Award for what you call education as education worker. Okay. Educom Award is a short form for Education Community Award. Okay. So as education worker, I work with other educational organizations to solve educational issues. So my work with them also won me that. And I won Innovative Digital Teacher the following day, which is 2018, for my ability to employ digital devices. It's not about you come to school just to use projector to teach. That makes you a digital teacher. We call something field trip, taking a child out of the classroom to go and experience educational places or to learn outside the classroom. Okay. But I may want to take my child to Kwame Nkrumah Museum, but they may not have the money. How can I capitalize on technology to bring the life to the classroom? So we call virtually. I can be here, and then the tour guide over there can just take. You know how it is. Yeah, video call, and then my student will be able to learn over there. I get in a point. I employ that. I have guests in my classroom, video call guests. We do science. Now, in our schools, we don't have science gadgets for experiments. Now, online, digitally, you can help your children to do practical works online. I connect my classroom to other classes outside Ghana. So we had a collaborative class with students in US, other class across, even in Nigeria, we had collaborative class. So those things, they brought in the child's mind that, no, what we call global citizenship. The child, you are helping if you are connecting your child to classes outside Ghana, and they are learning about the geography and then the life of those people. They are going to think beyond their immediate environment. And there's two other things. So that I won that award. And I also won Bayport Teacher Innovative Award, 2008. They selected top 10. So I was among the top 10 that won that 2018. It was the same year that I won the Digital Innovative Teacher. So I also won Inspirational Teacher Award with Educom also before. And for Bayport Innovative Digital Teacher, we were sponsored to go and scale up our innovative idea. I proposed, we went to pitch our ideas. My idea was to think critical thinking skill, what I call the 4 C's. The 4 C's are very important in this dispensation of education and be able to fit in the 21st century. The 4 C's: communication, creative thinking, or critical thinking, creativity, and then collaboration. So how do we ensure that you are teaching students to better their critical thinking? How can they collaborate? Because collaboration is very important. You get to cooperate where you can't work alone. You have to collaborate. So those skills must be taught. Communication is very important. The child may have the idea, but how that child communicates that idea, and then creativity. So I pitched that idea, and it was selected. So we were funded to scale up our ideas across the country by running training program for teachers. So we were able to do that as well. And I was selected for what is the name of this? SDG ambassador by Teach SDG organization. Teach SDG organization. Actually, they are aligned with UN to help teachers to understand what the goals are, the United Nations Sustainable Goals are, and how best the understanding will help them to help their students. Because a shortfall of the MDG is that more awareness are in there, so they want to create that awareness gap, kill that awareness gaps, remove it there. So we believe when children are part of it, children have the power to cause change. So teachers should cause students to understand what the goals are and the role the children too can play to carry out the realization of the goals. So that SDG ambassador role was to help more teachers to understand what the goals are and how they can integrate the SDG in their teaching. If I'm teaching maths, social study, integrated science, how best can I bring in an idea of the sustainable development goal? So I helped that role. I was able to help carry some activities for teachers to understand and others to implement it.
So are you still part of that Teach SDG?
Yeah, I am part of their group. So we continue with advocacy. And then I happened to also join, for me, this is March, working with Africa Education Watch as a research fellow. Over the years, I've been into activities that has to provide intervention to education. But this one is more of advocacy group. And for me, over the years, I've been looking for an opportunity to do more of advocacy as well. So Africa Education Watch, that is, the organization works with government, civic society organizations, businesses to ensure that we promote educational equity and then quality across the country. And Africa Education Watch, I think, is one of the leading organizations in the country promoting educational quality. And to be working with them is an opportunity, it's a real privilege. So we actually do work with and analyze government policy in education to see which ones are best fit to promote educational quality or ensure quality education in the country. So that is I'm part of them currently and actively working with them. And then I think a few days ago you may have seen that
the latest.
The latest is the 100 ambassador, and that is also a big opportunity because for the 100 ambassador, it is a community of educational experts across the globe, so all over the world. When you are selected, it means you have an expertise in education to bring. So what we do is to, first of all, identify educational challenges, and then we look for innovative ideas or solutions to those problems, and then we implement. So it can be we work with government to implement them, or civil society or business organization to implement those solutions. So ours is more to brainstorm on solutions to education across the globe. So somebody in Lesotho can bring a challenge in their country. Ours is to go to the table, think of innovative ideas that are working elsewhere and that can be replicated. So we scale the ideas up so that at full scale, we're able to get quality education. That is the Sustainable Development Goal 4. That is to achieve quality education in 2030. We're able to reach it at a uniform level. So that has been it over the years. By God's grace, that has been a journey. And as a writer, I publish a lot in the what is the name? The Graphic. Yeah, I think today Graphic even published one of my things. So I publish online on print media, and that is it. And I came out with these 3 books that has to inspire.
I believe that now the intro or the title I've accorded to you is now justified with the past few minutes having explained what you've been able to achieve as a teacher. And I think this is just the beginning.
Sure.
And other teachers out there who probably feels that the government is not giving them the recognition they deserve as teachers should also look at swimming beyond their comfort zone. I mean, it is risky jumping out of the basin in which you're comfortable swimming in, but as well, you may not be able to swim to a larger extent if you're too comfortable in a smaller basin of water. So, congratulations on all those achievements.
Thank you very much.
Wish you all the best on the subsequent ones. Now, I want us to look at COVID-19 has come. I don't want to say has come to stay.
Yeah.
Some people use that term. I'm not comfortable with it. But now, as we speak, COVID-19 is here. We do not know when it is leaving us. But until it leaves, we have seen that a lot of proposals are being made on how to engage students and what to do in order to keep them still learning. Now, before we even come to the technologies, there are a lot of debates out there that, okay, schools should open, but it should be open for those in the final years. That is, those in the JHS and then those in the SHS, and they should go and continue learning and prepare for their examinations. Amidst others saying that schools should be open for students to practice the various protocols that are there, and then others are also saying that schools should be the last thing to be opened. Now, what is your take on that? And also, as a fellow at the Africa Education Watch.
Well, Africa Education Watch, we came out with 10-point proposal for government to consider in reopening school, but our point was not that reopened just because you have to reopen. We understand the need for school to reopen because of its effects on students. I mentioned from the beginning the protracted long break that we are having and its implication on students. So there must come a point that school will surely get to rerun. The issue now is when. Will be determined when we have come out with plans that are workable. And I believe to get plans that are workable, we need to involve everybody, and the starting point is the parents. Because if we come up with anything and parents feel like, look, I'm not convinced with this, so I won't send my word to school, we have done nothing. So for Africa Education Watch, we are saying start the bottom-up approach in policy making or planning. When you consult the grassroots, those are the grassroots, the parents, they will finally send their words to school. And when you make it that they feel the need that my voice is part of this plan you are coming out with. They know that, look, I own this plan. You are not bringing it to me. I also came out with idea. So if that is done, parents will feel comfortable sending their words to school. But if you don't, you may not get a student even if you reopen school. And then we need to work on our society to know that even though the war against COVID-19 is not won, education cannot be on standstill forever. So those engagements will help parents and the society to understand that school needs to get going. When we get to that point, then other plans like sanitary provision or sanitary facilities in school, which we are calling for, they will need to be in place. And as it stands, to ensure social distances and other things, we are proposing that shift system has to be in place. Students go to school at 7:30, they run 4 hours, they come back. Other batch come in the afternoon, they also run another 4 hours, so that we'll be able to have the class size, so that at least there will not be congestion in the classroom.
Right, so on that shift system, one thing that came to mind was, do you think teachers will be ready to absorb these shift system without demanding extra cash? And if they will, is the government in the position of footing this?
Two questions. Whether teachers will make extra financial demand.
Yes.
The issue is, will the shift system increase their number of hours in terms of tax on what's the name? Time on task?
Okay.
Prior to COVID, teachers were working close to 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
So if the same thing, you are to engage a child for 4 hours and then another batch for 4 hours, it amounts to the same hours.
Okay.
So I don't believe teachers should be talking about financial commitment because shift system, unless there's a need for you to work more than your TOT tax time on tax, then we can talk about that. But if it's the same hours that you are expected to work, fair enough. You get my point. So what we will need to do more will not be about it will more be about getting teachers, extra teachers to help classes that are vacant in those rural communities or even across the country. Right. Because those classes that are without teachers, there's a vacant position over there, and then learning loss is ongoing before even the COVID, because they don't have engagement of teachers. Right. And now COVID has set in, and then it means that they are getting far behind. So the attention should be calling for employment to fill in those vacant classes across the country. But for talking about teachers making extra demand, unless the government is asking them to work, for them to work beyond their expected hours.
You see, I like your thinking, but I don't think most teachers would side with you, in the sense that, yes, in as much as it's still 4 hours, 8 hours a day approximately. I'm going to teach social studies. Probably today I'm teaching some of the subjects I'm not even. So let's say I'm teaching reproduction. Okay. Ideally, if schools were running as they were, I'm going to use probably an hour to teach reproduction. This time around, there's a shift system. We're still within the 8-hour demand that is on my time on tax. But then again, I'm supposed to teach reproduction 2 hours instead of 1 hour if the classes were put together. And so, in as much as there may not be extra time demand on the teacher's time, they are going to do the same. They are going to be repetitive in what they teach. So don't you think this is a good argument?
I don't think so. You have repeated your lesson. For first batch, you've taught the same thing. So another batch, you are teaching the same thing. So it's an argument for you to demand extra. The argument is not based on whether you've repeated lesson. We in school, even pre-COVID, we have been repeating lesson based on my assessment. If my student don't understand a particular lesson, I have to reteach. You get it? I have to reteach. So reteaching a point that I've taught this batch and I'm repeating the same thing, it's not an issue. But if what the most should be concentrating on now, when that should happen, is about how best do we get most done within 4 hours with the first batch. So now teachers will have to master the craft of getting good productive works done within 4 hours, because time is limited. What we're coming to do now is like half a loaf is better than none. So if students are to spend 4 hours in school a day, it's better than they staying at home forever. So how best do we achieve much from the 4 hours? And will teachers need skill development to be able to do that? If that is what they need, that should be the call.
I just pray that other teachers agree with you, because dealing with human beings can be very, very difficult. And that's a great suggestion from the Africa Education Watch, and we pray that it works. But again, one concern that personally I have is that now dealing with kids can be very, very complicated, to the extent that a teacher cannot handle these. For example, if we say kids should resume school with nose masks on, we deal with children who are curious. I went to a friend's home one time with my nose mask because of my job, and a kid met me and was like, "Uncle, give me your mask." So children are going to go back to school, are likely to go back to school wearing masks of all kinds. And this one will be like you said, students can be bullied. And so you have a child who's having probably a foreign made nose mask, somebody's having a locally made, somebody's wearing something else, and they begin to compare whose mask is the best.
So the likelihood of them exchanging
is there.
Okay, your point is made, and the fact is, going to school, we just don't get students into the environment without giving them COVID compliance guidelines. Mm-hmm. The education needs to go down there. Parents will be involved in educated towards that. When you go to school, this is the reason why you've been out of classroom for this number of months, and you are going back. We are not out of the woods, so the education staff from the house, that the parent is likely to, the child is likely to listen to the parents, that okay, Mommy said I shouldn't give my marks to anybody. Mommy said I shouldn't take my marks from anybody. So when it starts from the house, and then it comes to school, reinforced by teachers, we will see some level of compliance. We are not saying you will not see those kind of things. So when you have seen the voice of parents, the voice of teachers, some level of compliance, higher level of compliance will be there. And then it doesn't mean teachers and the parents give them education, so teachers will relax. Monitoring continues. We have also factored in the issue of break.
Okay.
So there are two ideas we came up with concerning break.
Right.
That break time should just be within the classroom. That we had a break, like 5 minutes break between this lesson and another lesson, so that there's a sort of break in there. And then if a child comes with snack, that child can eat in a class. Okay? And then where, or alternatively, break can be staggered, where basic 1 and 2 can go for break. Others, so they've drawn a timetable that basic 1 and 2, they have their break time different, so that when they go out for break, are they going to, they still go under the monitoring of their teachers. So we are going out for break. What are you going to do? That's the most important thing. Are you going to buy food? Buy the food, come to the classroom and eat. So that thing we'll be doing formally with break, go and play and come back. That is not good, because maybe have just limited of 4 hours proposal we're giving. So it's not going to be any lengthy break that will play the whole day. Okay. So it's going to be more, the break is more going to be, if you have a snack, take your snack. If you have to go and buy, just go buy and come back to the class under the supervision. If anything, in between you want to go and urinate, you ask permission, you go and urinate, and then you come.
Well,
so
I just pray that this is.
we are not envisaging that it will be something that will be easily done. It is going to be challenging, and we haven't thought that because of these measures, we will not record COVID in school. We will. But even if the child is at home, the child is still at risk of getting COVID. They are not roaming in town. This thing you are calling social isolation. I believe the school is, if they are in school, they are even more prone to be protected by teachers. Because in my community, Peki, you see children, they don't care about this social distancing you are talking about. They are still playing football. They are still playing armpit together. You get a point?
Yeah. We just hope for the best, yes. It's important that their education is not truncated, or, it's not just disturbed entirely for a whole year or almost a year, because COVID is with us. But we pray as well that whatever procedures or processes are put in place, it rather helps to curtail the spread of the virus, rather than trying to give knowledge and then
spread it
out of hand.
I get a point.
Right. So now, I understand that you've started some form of online tuition, and so can you fill us in, and as well, because of our time, if you could add, going forward, how do you think this can be adopted by all level of education, not just those in the urban areas, the possibilities of fusing technology in our learning in every facet of our education?
Right. We have disadvantaged many children because we haven't seen the role of ICT in education now. Right. The integration of ICT facilities in educational sector. Over the years, it has just been piecemeal approach. We even came out with one child per laptop policy, but the laptops, we don't know where they have been.
Politicians took it. I said it.
Well, politicians, I'm not sure. If this one I can stick out by name, that it's not something that, because the laptops came to school. They were not any proper laptops, so some within months they got spoiled. But of course, some ended up in the home of teachers too. So
it's not just the politicians.
No.
The politicians and some teachers.
But that policy was not effectively implemented. I won't want us to talk about it. But how do we best ensure?
Let's just admit.
Now, so you see, I have within this COVID break been engaging some students virtually, giving some form of education for them. And the patronage I've seen, it has been by those who have the means, parents that have the means, that can even buy data for their wards to be engaged like 3 times or 4 times in a week. And you ask, how best do we scale up these things to our rural community so that children can online teaching, even when COVID is gone,
Yeah.
It will have to play complementary role to our education.
Yeah.
The TV lesson has to be continued. We have to bring in radio education.
Yeah.
Some of the educational content put on radio for transmission has to be there, and then we begin to expand internet connectivity to deprived areas. No, we have to get
Divine, well, yes, internet connectivity. Internet connectivity is important, but then as well, I think that there are other offline means of learning.
Of
Yes.
course, I was trying to get. I'm just looking at other possible means. So as we increase the connectivity, cost of data must come down so that those who have to go live would. There are other means like teachers recording. One thing, especially the tertiary university, will have to do so that is that every lecture must be recorded. Otherwise, you see what other these challenges. You just give out the recorded lectures to students. The same means if we can adopt those at SHS and then a basic school, it will help. That lessons could be recorded, and if it is that I have pen drive, I can get recorded message and play. Fair enough. So you see, these are ways by that post-COVID education. We have to put much premium on technology and it works in the educational system.
Right. Personally, what have you been doing so far?
Yeah, I've been engaging students personally with those that most of them are not my students.
Okay.
Because most of my students, their parents are not even having smart devices for you to engage them. What I do with my students this COVID break is I get the contact of their parents. Those that are on WhatsApp, I send assignment to them, they get back to me. Those that are not on assignment, at least text message of an assignment to do. They have my number. If you are done, I give you to read this in storybooks. If you have a challenge, flash me, I'll call back. We'll have interaction of what you've read and some formats so that I keep you. The idea it may not be effective. The idea is I always want you to keep your idea on learning. So that when we resume and you come back, I won't have problem now to start from the beginning to bring your mind on learning. It will be difficult for me. So once you are even at home 3-4 months, whatever it will be, let me keep your idea on learning. Even if it is a sentence I ask you to construct and send to me or call me to tell me, that the purpose may not be because you can't construct a sentence, but I want to keep your idea on learning. That is what we call learning track. Keep the child's learning track going. But so many children have lost their learning track, and teachers will have a difficulty when they go back to bring them back on track.
Right, so that is just about it. It's been a long conversation, but it's worth it. It's worth the time because we are looking at changing the education system. It's not just a normal news break. We want to just talk about education. What about what's happening today, tomorrow, and it's dead. We want to look at how going forward we would improve the education system so that I am much concerned about those in the rural areas. Finding alternative ways of catching up with those in the urban cities. Now we've seen some books here, and you want to take us through the various books that you've authored.
First, this one was first authored in 2015.
Okay.
It was reviewed for me. I mentioned my self-image was broken growing up.
Right.
So that particular book, I compile ideas. How best can you help people to come out of their self-image problems? So banish the enemy within, self-sabotage. At times, that broken image will help you to be sabotaged. Opportunities will be there, but you don't want to take advantage of them because you're afraid. How will people see me? What do people think about me? You don't want to step forward. So that book, I tried best to deal with the concept of how you can believe in yourself, that you can. Looking at my brother, I had to believe in that I can, despite the challenges there at the beginning. And then this one, the will to win. I believe without the will to win, you will not be able to persist and then to move forward. So how best, despite the challenge, do you keep your perseverance going? And so challenges are there, but I'm not going to give up in life. So these 3 books are more of inspirational.
Okay.
Yeah, then the final I cast down but not destroyed. It's about storms. We will face storms in our lives. Yeah, so how do you react to storms when they come? The Bible didn't tell us storms will come. But 2 things people did was, one built the home on sand and another built the home on rock. Because they were both anticipating, the one that built on rock was anticipating rock. So he got a ground that will be solid. So storm will be part of our lives.
Right.
What is our preparation for that? So when it comes to how do we react to them with my life, I face storms, and it's a moment you cry over some moments, and before you, I don't know, you're aware of the research stuff I have to go through.
You see, I'd always wanted to say this about about 13 years ago. I started a book. I'm not going to mention the title for someone who will cross me to go and write a book on that. And I'm unable to finish. I started another one in 2015. So I understand the difficulty, even publishing and all that.
Yeah, but finally, this is a motivational book. I want to come out with educational book finally, put my ideas over the years and then to help my colleague teachers. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I think I have something to offer that they can also learn from. That's that I'm always ready to learn from them as well. So I'll begin working on my educational book soon. And so that is one of the projects for the future.
Right. It's been very fruitful, but this is how far time will permit us. Unless you have any other thing to say.
No, I just want to encourage my colleagues, teachers. It is all about the willingness for us to grow. That is where we can give our the best to our students. So let's look out for opportunity for our personal growth. You can't give what you don't have. There are so many opportunities online. Develop yourself. New ideas are coming up in teaching and learning. Go out there, search for them, and help your students. What we've learned in college has become obsolete the very day you are leaving college because of changes in educational trends. So you can't base on what you've learned in college forever. Let's see how best we follow up with the new trends to catch up. I also want to appeal to college youths out there that, of course, we say the future belongs to us, but now the present is right here. And let's make our voice heard. Let's champion issues. Any challenge you are passionate about. I am passionate about education and channel my energy to that to make it work. And challenges will be there, but let's make sure we stand up in whatever we do. We trust in God that the future brings something better for us.
This question nearly escaped me. Any special lady?
Any special lady?
They said behind every successful man.
Oh my goodness. I'm resisting the temptation to talk about lady on your show because the last time we met and you asked about I should reach out to some few friends. I mentioned my fiancée, and one day somebody sent me the video saying to my fiancée, she's gone. You aren't even married. That has been the worst moment I've ever faced. We've been together for 5 good years, prepared for marriage. I think I even contacted for some of the services. We all that was left for date fixed, but things happen, and then so it's one of the wasted efforts, wasted energy, It's
a learning process.
It's a learning process. So that has been one of the most difficult moments in my life. But I have to keep moving. So for me, that is part of me. Whatever the challenges, I try as best to put myself together quickly and then move. So people will be like, "Oh, you don't love this lady. That is why you're able to come out quickly." And then it may not be that. But I can't put myself in isolation because of that forever.
When you did not contract COVID-19.
So you see, I can't be in emotional isolation. I had to move on. Is there? So I have to know that I don't want to talk about ladies right now. Then I want to not work and then go. This guy has changed, no?
Doesn't mean my show is already
No. But I don't want any of my friends to see. I don't want any of my friends to see the video one day and say, "You are going to this show to talk about this person again," and then you see this. No, of course. Thank you very much.
I wish you all the best. Some of these things happen for a better future. You may never know. God does things in several ways, and I will not allow anybody or myself to call any previous relationship a wasted effort. I mean, it was worth it when it was on, and so it's just a learning process. We learn from it.
I get a point.
Right. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
We'll catch up another time when more awards, more achievements, more affiliations, and
all day.
Amen.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the program, and it's very interactive.
Thank you. All right, viewers. So I want to say big thanks to all of you making time to watch this interview with Divine Kpe, an educationist. And like you know, we are not only talking about businesses. Our focus is to promote education, information, and as well entertain you when they need be. And so we are saying that Education must not be truncated because of where you find yourself. There are always alternatives, and it all begins with motivation from the home and self-motivation. And trust me, you can achieve and go every mile that you desire to go. And so don't forget to follow us on our social media handles, that is on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube, the Untold TV show. And personally is NTO Laku on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter is DOLaku or at DOLaku. I want to say a big thanks to all of you. Follow us because we promise to bring you back-to-back untold stories of individuals and businesses, and we tell the real story. Bye-bye.